Hello everyone, this is Scarzig and welcome back to another episode of Duelyst. We're going to hop right in today with some Magmar. This is a faction that I haven't played in a while, and after seeing a lot of what Magmar had to offer on the ladder, I wanted to give it another shot, but of course I have to put my own spin on it. A lot of the decks that you see are of course Voth because he's so good. And I wanted to try to do something a bit different with Starhorn. I think that his Bloodborne spell, drawing a card, kind of places him like irremovably into aggressive styles of decks. And you'll mostly see him running mechs as well, because when you're running Mechazor, drawing cards for your opponent isn't that much of a downside because you're planning on finishing them off before those cards actually matter. But this deck sort of plays around with that concept. It's more mid-range, however. Drawing your opponent cards does affect the game a little bit more this way, but it also tests my ability, I guess, to sort of predict what they're going to have, because back in the day when everybody was drawing two cards, you had to play around everything all the time. So this sort of harkens back to that, I think, a little bit. So without further ado, let's get right into the deck list. We've got 2 Flash Reincarnation here. This isn't too important for the deck, but what it allows us to do, every once in a while we can flash out an Earth Sister or a Mecantor War Beast a couple turns early and lay down some AoE, clear out the board a little bit, and this comes in handy. So don't want to run 3 of them because we aren't running too many targets for it. It's just there for utility. And we do have 3 Blood Tier Alchemists here. This is to give us some early drops, good for pinging ranged minions, which Magmar has a historical problem against. Also works with Eggmorph very, very well to just take out the eggs. We've got 2 Greater Fortitude here. I was running 3, but I did cut one for another card that you'll see later. We've got 2 Ephemeral Shrouds, of course. These work as pseudo Eggmorphs, and because it's only 2 mana, it's definitely a bit better for us in a pinch. Combos with Greater Fortitude to make that a 4/4, so not a bad deal at all. We've got 2 Healing Mystics here. You could definitely, if you don't want to put in 3 Shiro Puppy Dragon, definitely run 3 Healing Mystic instead. Or if you're only comfortable running 2 Blood Tier Alchemists, go ahead and put in that 3rd Healing Mystic. This is just a preference. We've got 3 Shiro Puppy Dragons on deck and 3 Young Silithars. That's just to round out our early drops. I really do like the Shiro Puppy Dragon here because this deck is going to be drawing us a lot of cards. We can also sort of play a zoo board flood angle, and Shiro Puppy Dragon lets us sort of play around in that aspect a bit better. We do have Blazehound, Spelljammer, and Vindicator here. Vindicator gets +2/+2 whenever your opponent draws a card, so you can combo that with your Bloodborne spell. You combo Vindicator with Blazehound to make your opponent draw a card, and Spelljammer. Normally your opponent might want to leave these alive because sometimes they want to take advantage of that draw, and having a Vindicator on the board basically says, hey, are you going to use your removal on the Spelljammer or this Vindicator that's going to grow out of control? And so the good thing about Spelljammer, even though I've said in the past I historically don't like it, is that because you draw an additional card at the end of your turn when you play it, your opponent, if they kill it the next turn, they aren't going to take advantage of that effect. So the turn that your opponent decides to kill the Spelljammer is the turn they don't take advantage of its positive effect. So having that as part of this deck I think is key. Also is a great removal target right along with Shiro Puppy Dragon. It's one of those early drops that serves as a distraction and removal magnet. So we do have the 3 Earth Sisters here, of course. They really carry the deck. If you don't have Earth Sisters yet, go ahead and throw in Veteran Silithar. Let me scroll over real quick. Veteran Silithar was the go-to 4-drop for Magmar, of course, before Earth Sister came out. This is very solid 4/5 with Rebirth. Sometimes your opponent's not able to deal with that egg, and you get your 4/5 back. And with the changes to Rebirth that are coming for the Shimzar patch, Veteran Silithar might be looking to make a resurgence, especially if Earth Sister gets nerfed. So again, as I mentioned earlier, we do have 3 Eggmorph for our removal, and we do have the High Hand here available. This is a card that you never see at all. You might see it in Gauntlet or something, but it gains +1/+1 for each card in your opponent's action bar. Very rarely is your opponent going to have 6 cards, but when your opponent has 5s, this comes out as a 7/8. I think I did the math. I can't remember right now, but you'll see it. Your opponent's usually versing this deck is going to have 4 or 5 cards, so this is really clutch. The card that I cut the Greater Fortitude for was Fractal Replication. This is another silly Magmar card that you don't really see a lot. This was used a lot back in the day in combo Magmar with Elucidators, because you could do Elucidator into Fractal Replication, but of course that was nerfed, so you can't do anymore what it was. It was Flash Reincarnation, Elucidator into Fractal Replication, and then Amplification. But that's a combo that you're not really seeing that much these days. Fractal Replication is just in the deck to give it a bit of spice. You can play one of these to multiply a Shiro Puppy Dragon so that you're getting multiple attack buffs on your minions each turn. You can multiply the High Hand, Vindicators, anything you'd like to get some real value onto the board. I've used Fractal Replication in the past on a Blaze Hound, and pulling out 3, 4 3s is sometimes very hard for your opponent to deal with. So it's just there for spice. You could easily cut this. It's just there for kicks. We do have the Mechantor Board Beasts as well, and 2 Ruby Rifters. This card, just to go along with the drawing theme of the deck, gives us a late game threat as well. This is also a very good Flash Reincarnation target, and that rounds out the top of our curve. So as you can see, instead of going with a purely rush down aggro focused Starhorn list, we're going for something a bit more mid-range to take advantage of the draw gimmick. So let's see what we got here. I've been seeing actually a lot of Magmar players here on my spot on the ladder, and if you'll excuse me, I felt like that was a bit loud, so I think that we're going to turn that down just a smidgen. But this opening hand isn't too bad. Double Young Silithar opening is pretty good for Magmar. And then with the Shiro Puppy Dragon to follow up, I might even go Young Silithar into Shiro Puppy Dragon, and that way I have a 3/3 with Rebirth. And I think that that is going to be our setup. We'll see what my opponent opens up with. Probably a Young Silithar of his own. What are you doing? Healing Mystic? Alright. Another interesting angle you could throw into this deck might be Natural Selection if you want to play an even heavier control style. It's just that the Shiro Puppy Dragon kind of throws, really kind of flies in the face of Natural Selection. So if you've cut Shiro Puppy Dragon for maybe like Primus Fist or something, then Natural Selection could be a card to look out for as well. So we're going to go for an opening like such, and I think that'll be our turn. And we're playing the Shiro Puppy Dragon up here, of course, just out of the way so we can take advantage of its passive a bit longer. You can also play Shiro Puppy Dragon going first, because moving onto the mana and then playing something to body block for Shiro is pretty decent. Oh man, this is rough. We're going to throw back the High Hand, I think, and hope for an Egg Morph. Oh no, we don't get it. So we can take out the Earth Sister by trading in the Young Silithar and hitting with the General. That's gonna throw a lot of damage at us, however. So I think what we'll do is definitely move Shiro Puppy Dragon out of the way and preserve that. And then I guess we can follow up with a Blaze Hound. Yeah, I think we'll go that route. This is really unfortunate for us because we aren't able to take care of this efficiently. But at least our egg survives, so that'll give him a target to attack instead of us, and we'll put down the Blaze Hound. here. It's not going to get buffed by Shiro, but we're going to body block that mana a bit just to make things hard for him. He might need to step around to get access to this mana, and if he overloads to kill the Blaze Hound, then that'll be a bit of damage that we put on him. So we'll see how that goes. Another Earth Sister? That'd be hilarious. I do have the Egg Morph now, so that'll come in handy for us. And this is also one of the situations where that Ephemeral Shroud would have really come in handy for us, which is one of the reasons we have it in this deck. Okay, Blistering Scorn, that's pretty clutch. It takes out the egg, and it allows the Healing Mystic to come up and trade into the Blaze Hound. I wonder if he has Amplification. Nope, he's just going all at us. I think it's important for me to take out this Blistering Scorn. The problem is I would have to trade in the Shiro Puppy Dragon as well, and it leaves us at 10 HP, which isn't very good. We're in a really bad spot here. So if I throw back the Blaze Hound and I get a Flash Reincarnation, I can Flash War Beast, and that might be a bit better for us. I do perhaps want to play the Healing Mystic this turn as well. High hand. Now that could be an interesting play. Okay, so options here would be play the Healing Mystic and the Young Silithar, draw a card. But I think what I'm going to do is take a risk here and summon the High Hand. Since he has 6 cards in hand, an 8-9 is going to be the biggest it's going to get, and he's going to need removal for that. And if he doesn't have it, then it allows us to claw our way back into the game. When you're this far behind, you can't be afraid to take big risks like this. Yeah, so he does have the Egg Morph. But this does buy us a turn, because that's going to be his whole turn there, taking out that Egg Morph. Okay, good. So he took out the High Hand. Like I said, that was just a big risk. If he didn't have the removal, then it would have bought us a lot of tempo to get back into the game. But for the most part, at least, it bought us a little bit of time. We do have 2, 4, 6. So what I'm going to do first is use the Seeking Eye to burn a card off of my opponent and fill my hand. And then that gives me a chance to summon the Young Silithar, the Healing Mystic to heal myself, and then Shiro Puppy Dragon. So that'll buff these to 3/3s. And this clumped up formation here kind of lets me fight Macantor War Beast. This would be generally good positioning because Voth has Overload. It's not going to do much for us. But gotta do what you gotta do. When you're stuck in a corner like this versus Magmar, trying to play your units out of the way of the Macantor War Beast is impossible. Flash Earth Sister? He flashed Macantor. I think he means he has amplification for it. Nope, he just wanted to have 2 mana to spare. Okay, so he's just going aggressive on me here. Doesn't attack with his general. That's very interesting. And this is very unfortunate for us because I can play my own Macantor War Beast here, but it will just die outright, and that's not a lot of value. So we can play the Blood Tier Alchemist to take out the Macantor War Beast and run away. So I think what we'll do here first is play the Seeking Eye. Try to get an additional threat. I wish if I had a Vindicator or something, but Earth Sister is good for us. Since I have the Egg Morph, I think I'll throw away the Ephemeral Shroud. This is definitely an error in ordering by me because I should have replaced first. Hoped for the Vindicator so I could have comboed it with the Seeking Eye. But we're just going to play the Blood Tier Alchemist to kill the Mecantor War Beast, walk away, and summon the Earth Sister here. Alright, so let's see if we can create enough distance to keep this Magmar General at bay. One thing that I was really hoping to make room for in this deck was Earth Spheres, but very, very difficult to do. A lot of stuff fighting for space. Maybe if I cut a Blaze Hound and the Fragile Replication, I could put in a couple Earth Spheres. Might be a good change for this deck, because I find myself, even though I'm more like hybrid mid-range, I do find myself going later in the game like this. Alright, excellent. Well, not too excellent, because we do need to play the Egg-Morph here to take out that, and I do get the good trade. Let me see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's pretty good for us. We can Egg-Morph that. We can keep making distance. Blood Tier Alchemist on that egg. Young Silithar trades. And I can play the Blaze Hound here, but he'd be able to move up and Mecantor all 3. So I'm going to play the Blaze Hound here so that he can only pick 2. I think that that's pretty interesting. The Spelljammer is actually really nice for us. It's going to allow us to hopefully refill our hand a bit. My opponent's playing an excellent control game. He still has 6 cards in hand, while I've been having to use multiple cards to deal with his threats. He's been getting a lot of value off of Blistering Scorn and whatnot. So that's the third egg. That's the third Earth Sister, and we've managed to whittle him down. That Earth Sphere might not matter because he's used most of his major threats. So fortunately, we do have the Egg-Morph on deck again for the Earth Sister. Hmm. 4, 5. So let's use the Seeking Eye to try to get something else to play this turn. Ephemeral Shroud. Ephemeral Shroud into Mecantor War Beast would be pretty good, I would say. Because it allows us to play the Mecantor War Beast and trade thusly. And I think I'm going to get this damage in here. And do I want to replace? I'll keep those. Really unfortunate that we didn't draw any Vindicators this game. I do have 3 of them in the deck, because we might have been able to play an additional tempo threat. As I've been playing the Seeking Eye to search for answers, I could have also been, you know, pumping up an additional threat onto the board. So here we've got our opponent down to 6 HP. He did show us the 1 Earth Sphere, so there's a good chance that he's running another. Fortunately for us, we have taken out all 3 of his Earth Sisters. So barring any, you know, crazy out-of-hand damage, we might be able to get some work done. Oh, Bounded Life Force. So we'll discard the Flash Reincarnation. And I guess we're going to have to play the Seeking Eye. Mecantor War Beast. Alright, so we're theoretically safe. If he's got Natural Selection or something with Rush, Sunset Paragon, okay, GG. Really unfortunate. Our Vindicator showed up a little bit too late there. An error that I'm thinking about now is possibly developing the Spelljammer 1 or 2 turns earlier to try to draw myself some more cards. And unfortunately, dealing with that Earth Sister very inefficiently early really hurt us. But I really do like the way that this deck plays out. Sometimes you just get dragged into the ultra late game and you just can't manage. Unfortunately, if he didn't have that Earth Sphere and the Bounded Life Force, which acts as a pseudo heal, then I think that we were actually doing a good job of creating enough space. So let's see. In this matchup, Vindicator might be nice to hold on to one of these. It does die to Phoenix Fire, though, so I'll have to wait to combo it with something. So it might be better to discard it. We'll definitely get rid of the Ruby Rifter. And Spelljammer's kind of iffy in this matchup because you really don't want Songhai drawing too many cards. So I think that we'll toss the Spelljammer. Oh, we get the Ruby Rifter back. Darn. Whew. Okay, good. We get a 2-drop. So we do have the decent, I would say, correct amount of 2-drops to have. I think it's like an 85% chance of getting one in your opening hand when you hard mulligan for one. So that's pretty good. So I could. Well, let's discard an egg morph. Okay. So that's a bit better for us because we can move forward and deny the mana. We get our own Earth Sister turn 2. And do I want to kill this Jaxi? No. I want to leave the Jaxi up because if I pop it right now, it has a chance of turning into a ranged unit, and then he could maybe buff it with a Killing Edge or something to one-shot the Earth Sister from range, and then he'll be able to play around its effect that way. When you're dealing with Jaxi, if you don't have like a Blood Tier Alchemist or something to immediately kill the mini Jax, it's normally best practice to leave the Jaxi alive, because when it dies on your opponent's turn, they can't immediately take advantage of this mini Jax, and so that gives me an opportunity to kill it. You know, barring inner focus, etc. Ooh, this is pretty interesting. I can actually have the Earth Sister trade into the Dial Toss, and then that 5 damage will reflect onto Kalios Zahn. Ooh, he actually doesn't want that to die just yet. Okay, so I think I will discard a Vindicator. We're hoping for Blood Tier Alchemist, I'd say. Flash Reincarnation. What can I do with that? Not much, unfortunately. So I think what we'll do is back towards this mini Jax. There's a chance that he has like a Mist Dragon Seal or something along those lines. So what we'll do is play the Vindicator here and then use the Seeking Eye. So our opponent will draw a card. This will get buffed. What this play does is it makes it so the mini Jax is going to be in melee range of the Vindicator no matter where it moves. So it'll be forced to hit the Earth Sister or the young Silithar or something. And I think just for damage sake, we're going to have the Earth Sister attack the Songhai General here. We want to try to get some value out of it before it's killed in some way. Especially with the Dial Toss here. I could even have moved the Earth Sister 1 space this way, and then, you know, it keeps it alive for another turn, so to speak. But you can see right now it's weak to Phoenix Fire, etc. And it looks like that is the route that he's going to take. He could have had Onyx Bear Seal or any other slew of spells to answer the Earth Sister. And since I figured that was coming, I thought it just best to get some value out of it there. And he does have the Mist Dragon Seal to get the Mini Jacks out of the way. I was fearing that. So I do have access to Flash War Beast, which would be beautiful if I could get it right in here. But I don't think that that's going to be the case. Let's check the Greater Fortitude. We've got another Flash Reincarnation. The Mini Jacks is going to be a problem because it might be able to get some really heavy damage on us. So I think the best play will be to actually just develop some additional threats onto the board. We're going to get the high hand out there. We do have some pretty good answers in Egg-Morph. Unfortunately, I'd really like to see Blood Tier Alchemists come into the hand to combo along with this, because Egg-Morph, Blood Tier, these are all perfect Egg-Morph targets. My opponent's developing a really strong board here, but as you can see, he's actually running out of cards. So if I'm able to deal with what he has right now, then I might be able to actually win this game. Opponent dropping some burst damage on us right now. If Magmar had like some sort of movement spell, it would be really, really OP. Because I'd be able to get this Vindicator in his face. But let's see here. I can Mecanter this. Now, here's an interesting conundrum. I could probably Mecanter War Beast to take out this Mini Jax, and then just have the Vindicator kill this Chakri Avatar, and then I run away. It's just that with Blink, he only needs to find a few more points of damage in order to kill me. So I think that the Mecanter War Beast here is going to be the proper play, because it removes the most damage from the board. We do need to have the young Silithar trade into that. And that's going to be as good as it gets for us. He only needs to find a few spells. Chakri Avatar, Mini Jax with some sort of buff on it, Spiral Technique, that sort of thing. So I'm definitely in the danger zone for this matchup, but I do have the Vindicator getting ever closer. I guess it would have been a bit smarter to play it slightly nearby, but I wanted to counter that Mini Jax like I was talking about before. He ended up using the Mist Dragon Seal to get it out of that corner. So we'll see how he plays this. He can move the Chakri Avatar and then blink it and take out the Mini Jax, will take out the Mecanter War Beast most likely, and then wow, Killing Edge on the Tombstone. No, don't do that. Have the Mini Jax kill the Mecanter War Beast. Chakri Avatar gets buffed. Okay. So that's good for us. Let's chuck the Spelljammer. Fractal Replication. That would be trolly if I fractaled the Vindicator. But that's too great of a risk, especially since he's coming up on 8 mana. There's a good chance he does have the Spiral Technique. So what we want to do here is Egg-morph the Tombstone. And then have the Vindicator... No, if I Ephemeral Shroud the Chakri Avatar, then it just dies. Then the Vindicator can one-shot this Tombstone, and then the Egg-morph comes down on the Mini-Jacks, and then we pray he doesn't have Spiral Technique. What you got? What you got, man? Aw, really? Oh, big surprise. Alright, so we were one turn off of winning there. That's usually how Songhai goes down. They have just enough damage to where they're about to lose, and then that's when they kill you. So that's really unfortunate. I would like to see Songhai getting some stronger options added in the early mid-game so that they don't need to rely on Spiral Technique as a finisher. I think everybody's had their share of salt around that card, but if you play Songhai, you realize how necessary it is that they have that last bit of burst, because as you saw, he was running low on cards, he was getting back into a corner. Around that mana range is when a lot of factions are actually becoming extremely threatening. So that's just Songhai's way of being threatening, is they get the Spiral Technique. But I was able to properly deal with those threats, which I'm really proud of. One thing would have been, for sure, playing the Vindicator a bit closer to the fight somehow, in order to take advantage of it a bit sooner. So we'll have to go with that. Maybe something cheeky like adding in Ghost Links. But let's not get too lost in those thoughts. Playing the raw Vindicator turn 1 would just be so sad. I really appreciate your enthusiasm, Cantor War Beast, but I think I'm going to need another 2-drop. Ugh. Oh, that's rough. That is something that Magmar has a really tough time dealing with, is the Pyromancer. So Pyromancer gets value right here. I was really hoping for a Blood Tier Alchemist there, not gonna lie. And it's so weird too, because the cards that I have 3 of in this deck seem to be the ones that I'm missing. Like, I didn't get my Vindicators in that other match, and then Blood Tier Alchemist would have been really clutch as well in that match against Voth. Okay, so Xerix moves forward. The Pyromancer can come out this way and take out the Young Silithar, and then the Egg as well. So this is a pretty interesting formation here. If I can get in and take out these Pyromancers, I think I can really swing this game around. No, man, you want to get this 2-for-1. You definitely want to get the 2-for-1 value. He's doing it smart. If he takes out this Young Silithar instead of going for the greed, then he's going to guarantee the life of this Pyromancer. Darn. Fortunately for us, that Pyramus Fist buff is only going to last, the 1 turn, so... With these Pyromancers on the board, whatever I play just dies. So I think that we will have to throw away the Vindicator for now. And until we clear out this nonsense, I'm going to keep my HP up. I would not mind doing Flash War Beast to clear out those Pyromancers. It's an extremely strong early tempo play if your opponent can't deal with them. This is exactly the way Pyromancers are supposed to function, where they get a lot of value if they are answered, but if they are answered, then it's typically neutral because it's a 2-1. Normally, Blood Tear Alchemist is a good positive trade for your opponent, but usually they end up having to waste something a bit bigger to take out the Pyromancer. And, their usefulness fluctuates up and down depending on if Cassiva's in the meta or if people are running a lot of Blood Tear Alchemists. So we'll see what my opponent does here. He's not going to be able to completely take out the Young Silithar and the Egg currently. If he has Siphon Energy, then he'll be able to step one Pyromancer back, move one down, and then take out the Silithar. But he might just opt to take out the Healing Mystic. We'll see how this plays out. Okay. Sand Trap! Sand Trap! Holy smokes, you do not see that. Now, in any other matchup, Sand Trap would be absolutely rubbish, right? Against any, most factions have movement options. I could throw up the Hail Mary. Yeah, if I Seeking Eye and get the Flash Reincarnation, I'll still be able to Flash War Beast. So we're going to hope for that. Blood Tear Alchemist. Okay, that helps us. We can do Blood Tear Alchemist and develop the Spelljammer. So we'll take out this Iron Dervish. Try not to give him too much value. We'll summon the Spelljammer here. And then we will summon the Blood Tear Alchemist here. Cool. Fortunately for us, outside of these Pyromancers being very annoying, our opponent was not able to develop any additional serious threats to really split our aggro, because if you're able to get a couple ranged units on one side of the board and then you move to the other side as you're developing threats and your opponent has to choose, oh my goodness, it's so frustrating. So let's see what he has for us here. The positioning of the Spelljammer here guarantees that I'll be able to kill the Pyromancer wherever he puts it. The smart play might be to actually back off and just hit the Spelljammer. That way, I'll be forced to walk towards it and kill it with my General, or trade in the Spelljammer. That Sand Trap is really unfortunate on this buffed Young Silithar. I guess I can just treat this like a green scaly Blazing Spines. See, he's really thinking about it. So he is going to take out the Blood Tear Alchemist. And does he want to hit face? Or maybe he has a Provoke here. Ooh, okay, Primus Fist. Body blocks me. And then the Pyromancer comes through. If I were to Fractal this thing, would it still be not able to move? I think they're direct copies. It copies all buffs. So I think that it would actually copy that as well. But fortunately, we're able to get a bit of value this way. So we'll go that route for now. And my gut's telling me to swap out the Fractal, but I have a feeling he's not going to be able to kill this Mechanitor War Beast. So if I can Fractal the War Beast, I can get some juicy value out of it. So let's go. No rush. We have the Egmorph for the Armera Healer. We also have Ephemeral Shroud for any other shenanigans. Sand Trap! That is too much, man. That is really hilarious. I gotta say, he's definitely doing something new and inventive, because Sandtrap is a card that you do not see play. I'm really glad. I've been seeing that a lot lately. A lot of cards that you really don't see played. And my opponent is up to 7 mana, and if he's running Sandtraps, I wouldn't put it past him that he's running Dominate Will. So we'll swap out the Fractal. He does have 6 cards in hand, so I think we'll just throw down the Seeking Eye here. Make him burn something. Ooh, a Mara Healer. And we have the Blaze Hound. Alright. We'll put the Blaze Hound here, because it's not a good Dominate Will target. And then we have another Blaze Hound. So we're going to make you burn something else too. And let's keep our health up. I know a request that people have done as well is they want to see what cards their opponent burns. But I was just focused on the Amera Healer. So that's pretty good for us. Another cheeky thing this deck can do is make your opponent overdraw. Bone Swarm. Not bad, not bad. That means he can trade the Sworn Sister into the Blaze Hound if he wants. He might even buff it somehow, so that it survives the trade. No, looks like he's not going to buff it. It's really tricky playing around Vitruvian once they get into the higher mana cost, because I am absolutely paralyzed of Dominate Will. Especially since I typically play control-oriented decks. When it takes one of your large threats, my god. My god. Okay, this would be interesting if that Fractal Replication comes back into my hand, because I can Fractal the War Beast up here and then still get a bunch of AoE off. That would be nonsense. But we do have the Blaze Hound, so I can trade into the Ethereal Obelisk very cleanly, which is nice. And then drop the Shiro and maybe an Earth Sister. Okay, I could... Okay. Now, where do I want to move my general at all? We'll play the Shiro here. Then Ephemeral Shroud, that. We still have the Egg-Morph for the Amera Healer, so I'm not too worried about something like that happening. And playing the Earth Sister is a bit risky, so I think what I'll do is just summon the Healing Mystic instead. I'm also going to do something a bit different and play around Star's Fury a bit. So it's not going to get buffed by Shiro, which is a bit unfortunate, but I think it's important to limit the Star's Fury play a bit, because the Sand Trap really opens up targets for Star's Fury. Another interesting thing, too, is because these units are frozen in these specific spots, I've sort of corralled him within this upper section of the board, so I'm actually forcing him back around to where my units are frozen. That's a good trade, I'd guess. Okay, so what do you do about that Blaze Hound, my friend? Amera Healer might be his Hail Mary play here to try to keep everything at bay. This is... So, yeah, so there's the Star's Fury. Take out the Mechanter, why not? That one takes out the Blazehound. Those two trade into the Shiro Puppy Dragon. Or at least one does. 1 plus General. Then the leftover Dervish can hit me in the face. Okay. Now, he still has the Dominate Will. I think that a good Vitruvian player would have held the Dominate Will even through that scenario since he had the answer in Star's Fury. And because he's probably waiting on me to play something really, really big. I don't think he's seen any Earth Sisters out of me yet. Have I played any Earth Sisters this game? It's a good question. But anyway, so I am kind of scared to drop the Ruby Rifter. I'd have to put it in a position where he can't get to it. At all. And it needs to be nearby his general. So I guess what I can do is do this. Play the Ruby Rifter here. Then just play the Shiro Puppy Dragon, I guess. I do have mana for a Seeking Eye, and this is where it comes into a bit of a funky situation where I don't want him to really draw any more cards because I feel as though I have the advantage. Yeah, so I guess we'll just fight him, and I'm going to keep my HP up, of course. Since he's showing me obelisks, I feel like I have a stronger late game. If only there was some way to move this thing. I could, you know, if I was like really bold, I could egg morph this thing, and then when it rehatches, it would be able to move again. Another Sand Trap. The Ruby Rifter does allow me to draw cards, but I didn't want to attack the general there, so yeah, that is another Sand Trap. And this Dervish spawned where it can't get to anything. Oh yes. Let me put a Mechanter War Beast right up in there. Right in there. Actually, he just dropped down to 9, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I get Greater Fortitude, it's lethal. So we're gonna fish for that. Nope. All right. What I could have done there is actually hit his general with mine, and Ruby Rifter would have drawn me another card. But since I didn't get it off of those, I figured it best to just kill those obelisks, so... I guess that could qualify as a misplay on my part, because, you know, I've missed one card draw there. But this is just me playing it safe, keeping my HP up. But next turn I got him, I'm pretty sure. 5, 6, 7, 8. Wildfire Honk. Ooh, very clutch. Time Maelstrom. Wow, this is something that you don't see in Xerix running. Normally they're just running Saj. But the Ruby Rifter has drawn us a couple cards. We do need to take out that Wildfire Ankh. So let's see. I wish there was some way that I could, you know, get this thing into the fight, but it's just not going to be an option for us, unfortunately. Let's see. We're gonna summon the Blaze Hound here, and then that allows me to move my general down, so that way he can't slap me with the Wildfire Ankh, hopefully. Fractal Replication is kind of nice here. I think we're going to chuck the High Hand. It's a bit moot at this point. I'm really digging for Greater Fortitude or something like that. Legendary Alchemist, okay. So we have another little bit of damage in hand, I think, to finish off our opponent. His best play is going to be to move back and then kill the Mecantor War Beast. So then we have another 4 damage here. He's going to need probably Fireblaze Obelisk into Star's Fury. And that actually, 3/6, that's actually lethal. Well played. Wow, you have it? Has he played 3 Fireblaze Obelisks? Star's Fury, and then maybe Primus Fist or something? Or some sort of buffs. Maybe Third Wish. Oh no, it's just enough because it spawns in front of me there. Yeah, so I was playing around the Wildfire Ankh. That's too bad. Wow, all of these games have been really, really close. So I think the Folly there is definitely playing a bit too cautiously. I definitely should have focused on drawing some more cards off of the Ruby Rifter, I think. But once you get around 12 HP, I think that more often than not, you're still going to win. I think that playing safely, because 12 is normally the burst limit. But thank you for stopping by. I feel like I definitely made some misplays. I'm sure that you guys will also help me with some mistakes that I made, and also have some suggestions for improvement to the deck. The High Hand didn't really perform as well as I would have liked. That Sand Trap was really clutch. Holy hell. But anyway, thank you for stopping by. I hope you liked what you saw, and I will see you next time. You have a good one.